way of the warrior. Welcome, my friends, to this gem on warriorship. Warriorship is so necessary in the modern day. You know, the courage, the strength, the audacity to face life as it is, to face the many trials, the tests, the highs and lows that come to us and rise through them. You know, the courage to face and see the truth, to, order that inner life. It takes courage. It takes inspiration from that heroic ideal. It takes warriorship. And warriorship is what we all need to unlock our potential. To become the man or woman we are meant to be is to walk the path of the warrior. Let's dive into this archetype, my friends, and I want to do a little different. In following videos, I'm going to dive into the heroic ideal and the warrior archetype in more of a blueprint style. But this video is a bit of a podcast, a bit of a story over the past couple years of my journey into, embodying that warrior archetype. Let's do this. This is Reality Files. I'm Christian, and I'm excited to share this gem. Sit back, relax, hit that like button. Let's dive. Warriorship has always been part of my life. Growing up with my brother, we were always fighting, competing, striving with one another. With sports, with my friends, I had a very competitive upbringing in a way. Striving in school, striving in sports. Competition, if we look at the etymology of that word, it means striving with. You can't play football unless you have an opponent to strive with, right? And at the same time, I was really into epic fantasy novels, my whole childhood. And this really kindled this hero inside of me, this will to, to the greatness, to bring forth the greatness in my soul, to bring forth that hero. And that hero gives birth to the warrior later in life. We're going to talk about this soon. But I was just laying a little backstory, and then I got to college. And I realized through great disillusionment, through great awakening, that I needed to go my own way. I ended up dropping out of school. I ended up basically leaving everything I knew behind, against all what everyone was telling me, dropping out of this great school, to do what, right? It seemed ludicrous. But to follow your heart, it takes courage, my friends. And courage is the first virtue, the first value of the warrior. Right? Without courage, without strength, how can we protect any of our other values? How can you speak the truth, right? How can you pursue wisdom? How can you surrender without courage, right? It's the first value. It protects all the other ones. And it's kind of where the journey starts, is with courage, to look at things as they are, About 2 years ago, I really got into starting to try to embody my warrior, to create discipline, to create will, to raise my energy levels back up. After I woke up spiritually, so I started listening to Trevor Hall, going vegan, fasting, not going to the gym, all these things, and I became passive in life, right? Oftentimes when we wake up spiritually, we go through a phase of passiveness, of receiving all this higher information, law of attraction, all these beautiful things. But we lose this element, this fire into the world. We lose ambition because we think it's of the ego. It's a lot easier to go to the gym and, lift weights when you're looking at yourself in the mirror yeah, I'm getting big, right? When we lose all that, when we wake up spiritually, that warrior goes away for a while. And then we have to find ways to rekindle him because reality slaps us in the face over and over and over again. And we realize that life isn't going to get any easier. We must get stronger. No matter how much we pray, no matter how much we use the law of attraction or spiritually bypass things, we gotta come into the grips with life at some point, right? And hence my journey into true warriorship began. Refinding my will, refinding my connection to my body, refinding my fire for life, true ambition, not of the ego, but of the soul. What am I here to do? What am I here to give? How am I here to serve? And so much rewiring had to happen. Fast forward 1 year ago, I was kind of sick of the chaos I was living in. And I was taking a look at reality, and you know what? I was being inspired by these books I was reading, by these movies I was watching, inspired to take command of my life, to own my life, to show up and be the warrior that I know exists inside, to embody that heroic ideal, right? And at my birthday, I titled this year the Year of the Jedi. I was watching all the Star Wars movies at the time, and really inspired by this way of the Jedi, the way of this unattached certainty, this way of this focus of the mind and the body and the force, this way of training, this way of actualizing one's potential here on Earth plane, the way of the warrior, right? And that heroic seed was planted, right? And that seed, in the modern day, my friends, we don't have, there's no war, there's no great danger to go off with your comrades to go face, right? Warriorship, you need to inspire yourself. You need to aspire to it over and over again. You need to find ways to inspire yourself, is what I've realized. The best way for me is reading books with strong characters that light that flame of warriorship, of heroism back inside of me. We live in a heroic age, my friends, an age where we need a rebirth of the hero within all of us, to overcome the great suffering that we see around us and the great conditioning, programming, conflicting energies inside of our own reality. We need that heroic ideal. And to inspire that ideal repeatedly, I started reading these books, these historical fiction about the Greeks, about Greek warriorship. I love the Greeks. The Greeks had this arete about them, this excellence, this vigor, right? This courage, this audacity, to be great, to bring forth their true soul potential. The Greek culture was beautiful. I started reading these historical fiction books, and those constantly inspired me, right? I tapped into books like Musashi, historical fiction of the samurai warriors, right? The Gates of Fire, highly recommend if you want to really light that fire of fearlessness, of courage, of warriorship inside of you, right? And then further books like epic fantasy books with strong characters that, relight that inspiration for life. Constantly having something like this going is so key to embody that warrior's way, right? Furthermore, books like Autobiography of a Yogi, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, these kinds of books inspired me to get into disciplines, to get into rituals that were going to cultivate my energy and discipline my mind and body into this moment. Because I realized something. I realized that the warrior knows how to focus his mind and body powerfully. The warrior is embodied. The warrior trains. Training became a huge part of my life. All of a sudden, I went from no morning routine to a 20-minute morning routine to like a 2-3 hour morning routine at one point there this year. Inspired to meditate, to dive deep into breath work, right? Reading the Autobiography of a Yogi, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, books like these, really inspiring me to dive deep and master my mind, to discipline my own mind, to discipline my own body. I got involved at a martial arts gym, started going to kickboxing every week with a brother of mine, started doing, weekly primal rituals in cold water, screaming, like getting wild together, primal movements. Starting to go to my other martial arts class on a weekly basis, going to the gym, with my brother a couple days of the week, like creating these rituals where I could get in my zone and train. It does so much for your psychology. When you wake up, my friends, you go do your breath work, and then you throw in your freaking hip hop beats and you get to the gym, right? And you just train, you hit the heavy bag, you do some kind of dynamic movement, and you're getting into this aggressive attitude, this forward lean into life. And that is a virtue, that is the element of the warrior, is this aggressive forward lean into life, right? Not just this passive meditation, all this spiritual music, but getting back to my roots, getting back into that hip hop spirit per se, like rapping, freestyle rapping, you know, like epic emotional soundtracks, whatever it takes to light me up, to restoke that fire in me every morning, was so key, is so powerful, my friends. You cannot be a warrior without the body. The body is where it all starts for the warrior. Doing breath work into the body, getting to the gym, doing training in the body, right? And this is learning to focus your mind and focus your body, focus the energy powerfully. The warrior is about the cultivation of life force energy. The warrior is supremely focused on his body first and foremost, and then his mind, because he knows that to master the more subtle reality of mind, he must get his body into check. So I went, you know, fully into my body, and I'm continuing that process, taking it deeper and deeper, you know. Those historical fiction, those epic fantasy books, those whatever characters inspire you forward into life, those books also help cultivate that aggressive attitude, that forward lean, that I can, that I will, that I am kind of attitude. They relight your inspiration to return to your original nature, to embody a higher potential, right? So those two things combined bring out that warrior spirit inside of all of us. The next step, you know, that's kind of simultaneous with the rituals, with the training. Oh, last note on the training. For me, it was also about work, about writing this book. To start writing this book, once I got into it, my discipline had to go from here to here. And I realized that the warrior picks a worthy ideal, a worthy goal to aim towards. My friends, what do you do? What are you striving towards? What are you creating in your life that no one else is telling you to do, that you are doing for yourself? What is your self-assigned duty, right? And then creating rituals, creating habits around that practice, you know, is part of the warrior, because the warrior serves the king, and the king embodies the ideals, the highest service, the highest destiny, right? And for me, it was obvious. I was called to write this book, and starting it, the start was pretty easy. But as I got deeper and deeper into it, and the inspiration waned, this is where discipline had to take its place. Think about how many times you've been inspired to pick up the guitar, to learn music, to be a great artist, to write a book, to build a business, whatever it is. But once the inspiration wanes, you know, all of a sudden you stop. The warrior continues on. He is committed to his purpose. And this book was this challenge I gave myself that challenged me so deeply every single week. You know, so much self-doubt, you know, so much like wanting to stop, but continuing on. And through that process, I dug deep into myself. I discovered reservoirs, resources inside that I didn't even know I had. I realized how much more capable I am than I ever believed about myself. By setting that worthy ideal and creating the discipline around it, whether it's in training your body, whether it's in breath work, whether it's through a creative discipline activity, you know, I realized like, damn, I'm so much more capable than I know. I have so much more within me than I know. A great fire burns deep in my heart that I rarely tap into. And that kind of discipline trained my will, trained my mind, right? And is so transformative. So that's the piece on rituals, on training. The warrior trains, the warrior creates rituals that bring him deeper into embodiment, that light the fire inside of him, that make him reach deep into his inner resources and bring forth his potential, bring forth his great energy, his great, you know, this forward lean into life. I do want to hit on just like aggressiveness. Procrastination was one thing that I had to kill this year. Kill it, because it was ruining my life. It was ruling my life in so many ways. And to do that every single day was my intention for like 2 months there. To beat procrastination at all costs. Anything I'm called to do. Go to the gym, do breath work, make a video, write a little bit, whatever it is. It was do it, act right away with all vigor and conquer the first 10 minutes. If I can just do it for 10 minutes, I'm good, I'm fine. Just do the first 10 minutes. You realize it's a lot easier after that. So creating that forward lean into life, it's kind of like that samurai way of when they jump into battle, they jump into battle with all chi, with all vital energy, right? Ready to attack. They're always moving forward. And you realize that the more you act as the warrior, the more you want to act. The more you're lazy and procrastinating, the more you procrastinate. But the more you're embodying the warrior, the more you want to embody the warrior. The more action you take, the more you want to act. Everything builds on itself is what I realized. Moving on from rituals and training, I want to put a key into this video right here, and that's about your own mythology, your own story about yourself, and why reading those books, reframing your life to yourself, remembering that unconquerable spirit. You'll watch that video of mine. Remembering that hero inside of you, and you know, finding ways, movies, things that can inspire that hero inside of you, other masculine friends or, you know, feminine friends, or, you know, I'm mostly speaking to men right here, but whatever it is, all of that helps build a new story deep into your unconscious mind. It rewrites the DNA that operates at a deep instinctual level within us, call it the unconscious, right? And without a myth, right, we're kind of just in the throes of life. All of a sudden, like, something hard will come up and we feel weak. We feel like inferior to it. But if we're inspiring and aspiring into these heroic stories, into these ideals of warriorship, we slowly create a new framework, a new personal mythology, right? That affirms life, that affirms overcoming things, that affirms the beauty in the struggle, the challenge, and the triumph. A new disposition towards life arises through building your own mythology, your own story about this saga, this grand adventure that is your life, the saga of a master. Just want to put that keynote in there. The other simultaneous element of the warrior that I was cultivating this whole time, and I've been cultivating, is seeing life as the guru, as the great teacher. You can go watch my last few videos, whether it's on even-mindedness or tantra and individuation, but I talk about life, the highs and lows, the gain and loss, the chaos in relationships and the highs in relationships, the you know, depression and joy, like, you know, the gain of money, the loss of money, the loss of love. Seeing all of it as your teacher. This is the way of the warrior. The warrior accepts all that comes to him woven in the pattern of his destiny. Accept all that comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny is the words of Marcus Aurelius that always kept coming to me. And recognizing that all that comes to you is there for you. And misfortune bared worthily is good fortune. Throughout this whole year, like my whole life really has been a series of extremes. Whether it's with addiction or relationships or, you know, work, like things come in and out. Things are constantly challenging me. It often feels like I have cords tied around my neck, pulling me in all different directions. And it's like, can I hold my own through that? Can I not waver internally? That is the test of the warrior. The warrior is not moved by, you know, fear or how he's feeling or all these different things, but he shows up with presence and with focus and with, you know, identification with that deeper self in all circumstances, not riding on the worldly winds of gain and loss, of, ill repute or high reputation, whatever it is. Acceptance of all of it and seeing it as all happening for you. All of it's happening for you. I went through a lot of relationship challenges this year. I went through a lot of work challenges this year. And these two areas of my life are really important to me. They're really huge, right? All of a sudden, like YouTube failing on me. All of a sudden, like kind of being like shadow banned, or the algorithm just pushing me out of the system and feeling like, wow, I might have to let go of YouTube. I might have to let go of this business I built. I might have to let go of this entire way of life. I might have to let go of the environment I live in. I might have to let go of this relationship. Over and over and over, these things have come up. All of a sudden the crypto market crashes and you lose all this money. It's like, can you be unwavered? When love is there, can you enjoy it? But when it's gone, or when it's challenging you, can you show up and embrace it? To go dance with life is the way of the warrior. You see, life is going to test you. The warrior realizes that life is a series of tests and celebrations. That life is feminine. And the feminine tests the masculine repeatedly, over and over and over, to see if he is rooted in his core, if he is in integrity, if he is in his warrior. And you see, life, it's like making love with life, really. Learning to enjoy the loss, the pain, the suffering, because that is the counterpart of love, of light. Love and suffering go hand in hand. Pain and pleasure go hand in hand. Learning to enjoy both of them, not running from either, not trying to hold on to nor resist the highs and the lows. That is the way of the warrior, right? So this warrior is practicing this acceptance, this non-attachment towards all of life, and courage. And through this, the warrior, in my experience, I've come to see life more so as it is. You come into a more direct perception of life, and you start to root yourself there. You start to gain this self-reliance, right? Through acceptance and non-attachment, all of a sudden life starts moving you less, and the warrior can find the energy within to intelligently direct his life, to move his energy into life, to penetrate the feminine, to penetrate life powerfully, potently. He's training his energy and he's training his mind to not react to circumstances. Life as the teacher, life as the guru. Along those lines, another interesting thing has been happening to me a lot this year, and that is awareness of mortality, of aging. I'm a young man, but spending time in the desert, especially for me, for some reason brings up, wow, like I'm getting older. I'm going to be old one day. My body won't work the same way. Loved ones are going to pass away. There was, transitions in my family. And this awareness of death, of loss, has been so prevalent and is so relevant to the warrior. You see, the warrior affirms life through honoring death. The warrior affirms life through honoring death. Loss. The warrior lives with a two-folded mindfulness. Mindful of this present moment and mindful of the end of all things, and accepting that end. The end of relationships, like who you love most, like that love will one day end because it had a beginning, right? Your job, your career will one day end because it had a beginning. Where you are, any high, any experience will soon end because it had a beginning. Awareness of this end, awareness of death, right? This is usually forced upon us when we go through hard breakups, which I'm going through currently. I went through once before this year. All of a sudden you're aware of the end. Like, wow, this person is leaving my life, and we've shared so much together. I have so much connection, with this person. But when that separation is put on the table and you start processing that and going through that and accepting that, right? All of a sudden you find actual love, deep honoring with that person again. All of a sudden when the idea of separating, of leaving comes to you, right? It's like, wow, all this, attachments and different ways and patterns we've created with each other just fade, and I just see you for who you are, and I love you and I honor you, and your heart opens. Love blossoms where attachment is freed. Love and freedom. Can we balance those polarities? And the only way to do that is to live in awareness of the end. I was at a festival, this the other day, and it's a great festival, and I'm packing up and I'm leaving. I'm exiting the grounds, and I have a little ceremony to say goodbye to the festival, to say goodbye to the spirit of the land that held my campsite, right? To say goodbye to the trees. And I realized I never really said hello. And all of a sudden, through that act of saying goodbye to it all, I honored it. I could truly see it. I could truly love. I could truly show up to this moment in connection. The warrior knows and lives in awareness of the end. This is why the samurai warrior would meditate upon death every single morning. The stoic, would always live and meditate upon his own demise. This is prevalent in all warriorship cultures because the warrior could die at any moment and any day. And that's what made life so bright to the warrior, so invigorating. It's what created such strong bonds between comrades, which we don't have anymore. Imagine going in with your brothers, to defend the bridge that's leading to your tribe and leading to your village against the invaders, and like, wow, we might die today, brothers. This might be it. It's a good day to die, as the Indian would say, and like that makes life so full when we can let go, when we can die, and I've gone through many deaths in my business, in YouTube, in my relationship, and right now I'm standing at this precipice in my life, this great precipice during this eclipse season, where I'm cleaning out the closet. I'm cleaning out my old life and everything that has gotten me to this point. I'm ready to enter into the mystery. I'm ready to enter into the unknown, right? I'm ready to let go of this relationship that I've been in for 3 years. I'm ready to let go of even making YouTube videos, which I'll talk about in later videos. I'm ready to let go of where I live, of the patterns I've created. I'm ready to let go of everything and go find my true nature, to enter the mystery. And to do that, I'm realizing, is the supreme, the highest act of the warrior and the hero. The highest act of courage is to surrender, is to fully let go. For me, it is the hardest thing. So much of the warrior is about cultivating discipline and will and forward energy. But the other side of the coin of courage, is faith and surrender. To let go of everything you created and even creatively destroy what is. I'm eliminating so much shit in my life. I'm going through this book I've been writing and just deleting entire pages that took me hours and hours to write. It's like creative destruction. It's time to bring forth that element of the warrior. And then to surrender, to let go, in that sacred space, and with faith in the great one, or the higher self, or the deep self. Faith in the journey. This last festival I was at, I was ending during that eclipse. And the whole message, the whole ceremony was around, I surrender my heart to the stars. I am no longer seeking, pleasure and woman and money or all these different things and ideas and ways of being. I'm just giving my heart up to the stars. That is my mantra. I surrender my heart to the stars, and I trust that I am guided, and I know that I'm guided right now. That warrior has discernment when to crystallize, when to fire into life, and when to surrender, when to give up, when to take a leap of faith. And through that surrendering and letting life unfold itself, elements of the unconscious can boil up to the surface. New paradigms, new evolutions of the self can unfold as we progress towards the harmonious totality that is at the peak of our mountain. To reach there, we must bring light to the unconscious places. To do that, we must have the warrior, yes. The warrior to creatively destroy, to create, to bring fire into life. To build discipline, to cultivate will, to build skills that give you self-reliance, that give you faith in oneself, right? But ultimately, the warrior must know when to sacrifice himself. And that is where I'm at in my journey right now. Although the warrior is still needed in so many ways, but there's this great precipice, this great initiation of the warrior into the mystery school, per se, into the initiation to the higher level. It's the highest act of courage is to let go. It's to let go of what you love most, to let go of your dreams, to let go of your goals, to let go of who you are, to let go of who you become, so you can clear the space to become who you might be. That is the highest act of courage. Okay, I'm going to dive into the last keynotes of this video. If you've enjoyed this, please hit that like button, drop a comment below, and let me know if you're looking forward or interested in further blueprints on warriorship and the heroic ideal. Furthermore, if you want to talk to me one-on-one, for free discovery calls, link in the description for that. And this is going to be on my podcast as well, Wisdom Warriors Podcast, if you're not already following it. Last keynotes here. The warrior, the next evolution for me in the warrior, is about really committing to energy, honoring my energy, and building energetic responsibility. You see, the warrior is a master of his life force, right? And that comes into how you eat, how you use your body, how you use your mind, how you live your life in alignment with the laws of energy. Is to train yourself to be alert and awake in this moment, to be fully engaged in this moment, as if this moment is all that exists, to see every moment as a mystery, And it's helpful to be letting go of old patterns so I can engage with the mystery of life, so I can become fully present. That is a high embodiment of the warrior when you're fully engaged with life. You see, oftentimes the mystic, the philosopher, that magi calls me off into the distance, or, the lover calls me over there. It's time to fully just embody my warrior for a period of time. To fully engage. Last notes on the warrior. That other video got cut off somehow. The warrior is ready for anything, but expects nothing. The warrior, like I was saying, is a master of his vital force and is always doing things to cultivate, to consistently build the power and hold the power, holding the seed, building the energy in daily practices, so that if any situation that arises in life, he can act with potency. The warrior must be potent because his life might be on the line at any moment. And that is something I am stepping into and cultivating. The next thing is pure decisiveness. My friends, when we get clear on our purpose, clear in our intention on the worthy goal we are pursuing, right? That clarity gives birth to decisiveness. No longer do we get indecisive. Should I do this? Should I not do this? The warrior is not lukewarm. He doesn't fear making a mistake or making the wrong decision. He's going to make a decision strongly, boldly. He's going to be decisive because the warrior acts. He's not about thinking, he's about action. And action creates more action. And this leads to deep embodiment. This leads to, really bringing forth that vitality, that strength. Another aspect and keynote I want to hit on is removing distractions. Removing attachments. Like in the Jedi way, you know, attachment is forbidden in the movies, you know. And that's for a reason. Because it creates, you know, a separation from oneness with this moment, from that Satori place per se. Right? So clearing attachments, this takes a lot of courage, and we kind of hit on this throughout this video. But letting go of those things that aren't serving you, surrendering, you know, it's so important to the way of the warrior. And yeah, saddling up to face life for what it is, without those things that are no longer serving you, without the attachments that are bogging you down. Another keynote is energy. Energy is in fact a virtue. It's a standard you set for yourself. You know, if you believe you're lazy and your standard is to be lazy, you're gonna wake up and feel low energy, right? But there are other people like Elon Musk out there that wake up and do incredible amount of work with incredible energy for like 12, 14, 16 hours a day. Energy is a virtue. And the warrior sets a standard high to be energetic, you know? So it's about conquering the mornings, you know, rising to life with energy, with positive attitude on a daily basis, you know, building vitality constantly. Go watch my video, Energy, Stop Leaking. It's a great little synopsis on that. Lastly, the next evolution I'm stepping into is taking my training to the next level. It's summertime. It's time to head south. It's time to head into the body, you know, and to be alive with life. To do this, you know, I just started climbing. I've been reaching out to friends to go like bouldering or highlining or like do like crazy shit, like go rafting, like go do things that are gonna put me into my body. More martial arts, you know, and kind of gathering a little tribe of brothers that want to do cold plunges, that want to do breath work and martial arts and primal movement and things like that. Finding people, whether it's just at a dojo or martial arts gym or yoga class, wherever it is, finding other people that are going to be comrades in the pursuit of warriorship. Because that's really what it's all about, my friends. The warrior loves competition. Competition means striving with. Striving with. You can't play football without an opponent, you know? And it's like finding people that you want to compete with, that you want to strive with, to grow, to be better. That's what hones the warrior's skill. He can't be a great swordsman if he doesn't have competition to hone his edge. You know, you can't be a great ping pong player if you don't play fucking challenging games of ping pong. And it's just an easy way to cultivate that embodied warriorship. Like start doing judo or jujitsu or, you know, kickboxing or join a damn ping pong league or whatever it is, my friends. Find ways to get into community of other warriors, and that will inspire you along the way, along with the books, the movies, the media you are intelligently consuming to stoke that inspiration, to stoke the stoke, my friends. Hell yeah. There was about a 6-minute clip that got cut off and I forget what I said in it, but I hope that wrapped up this video well. This is Reality Files. I'm Christian. Check out my YouTube channel at Reality Files and my podcast at Wisdom Warriors. This is a raw talk about, you know, the way of the warrior and warriorship in the modern day. I hope you got some gems and some nuggets out of this. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I love and appreciate all your emails. Peace, man.